he was the architect of it because the structure of it began way before he even got involved. I believe it, that the tenets of that crime bill, the philosophies and all of that were already in place.
Well, that started like during the 1990s.
No, it was earlier than that. But the crime bill was the manifestation of a lot of frustration with what was going on in this country. And by and large, they had the support of the Black Caucus. I got my notes in front of me. I'm looking for them. But I've done.
We didn't even have help.
I've done extensive research, and like the numbers and the policies and all of that was a huge crime bill.
Right, and right now, how it's going to happen?
Hold on. It also ushered in the registration of those that harm children. Right, the registered sex offender came in with that bill. So people don't look at the totality of that bill. The problem was this. The problem was that racist prosecutors throughout the country were using that bill to target black folks, and those prosecutors were never held accountable. It's easy to put a face on it.
We were talking about Iran.
No, hold on, bro.
No. So you're right.
Yeah,
we were talking about Iran. Let's get back. The only reason why he went to that is because you brought up the face of the Democratic Party versus the face of the MAGA Party. And the MAGA Party is not the same face, period.
Yeah, that's a new party. They like the Republican, they're an offshoot of the Republican Party. They are definitely not the same traditional conservative Republicans at all. They're on a whole different politic, which supports like white supremacist views.
And to be honest with you, we've never seen nothing like this before. This has never happened.
Never in history. That is, never happened. Never saw it. Shit, I'm looking for my notes.
We've never in history seen a government that says fully white supremacist as the current government.
We're talking about so you were talking about the original title, right?
Yeah, the title was MAGA is leading us closer to war with Iran, and I was reminding you guys that Iran has been saying death to America for essentially the past 75 years.
Right, and behind that, Americans have been saying death to America, death to...
I don't know what kind of Americans you hang out with.
Oh, well, there's a lot.
Israel's been saying death to the Palestinians.
Have you ever heard? They've been saying all kinds of shit about the free market.
There's a lot of Americans that say death to America? What percentage of Americans say death to America?
I mean, people here have been burnt the flag. People have had...
I didn't ask if people here have burnt the American flag at protests. The leader of the country of Iran says death to America, and the response to that was people say death to America here in America too. Are there any American politicians who have ever been recorded saying death to America?
There haven't.
No,
so it's not really the same. It's not really the same.
I made that statement, and I definitely made the statement, and to your point. Yeah, I made the statement, but my point in making the statement was not to be...
politicians. I'm just talking about everything.
Yeah, I'm talking about you got people here who, you can, bro, and I spoke about this earlier in the room, brother, listen, man. This MAGA party, like, somebody had put that, like, the last 6 months, everything changed, and I'm telling them, no. It was able to be executed because there has been an infrastructure being put in place for a very long time. And I contend that the fabric of America.
Let me
Get rid of that person.
Hold on, let me change this because this is getting crazy.
Thank you.
Y'all, I can't. My thing's not working. Take it cut down. Can you guys get it down?
I got him on.
So the point is, what we are seeing happen today in the last 6 months, it was the culmination of a well thought out plan. It was a culmination of an infrastructure being put in place. The fabric of America, right, has a white supremacist thread running through it since its inception. And that rears its head at different points in our history politically. The rising of the new head, or the catalyst for what we see today was the election.
We're going to have to talk about, we're talking about Iran.
So you guys are basically the same exact place you were at in 2016? It's 10 years later, basically.
No,
stop. So what I told you was, and I asked you a simple question. When in history between Israel, Iran, and the U.S. have you seen another direct or large-scale airstrike as of what happened last month.
Well, sure. I think it's basically they're trying to finish the.
I asked you a simple question. Has there ever in history been a direct or large-scale attack or airstrike that has happened, like what's happened in June of 2025?
I'm not sure. I would have to look it up.
There
It's a no.
There hasn't.
Yeah, it hasn't.
There hasn't.
So
We had history of covert attacks. We had cyber warfare. We've had assassination. We may have even had proxy conflicts if you want to talk about Hezbollah or the Houthis. But there has never in history been a direct or large-scale attack of what had
So
happened.
what do you think that we should have? How should we respond to Iran instead?
So how the response should have been is the continued diplomacy or negotiation of how we get back to JCPOA, the original JCPOA agreement. The problem was, and there's so many alternate conversations on they just needed to reduce, when the reality was, and Trump has said it a million times, and I can pull it, he said no uranium enrichment. They signed an NPT. That NPT gave them the ability to have uranium enrichment, but only for civilian infrastructure, right? Which would also include medical. So if we were to say go back to the 3.5% based off of what they have as a nuclear site for that they use for power, they were supposed to actually build up to 20 of those power plants. They only have one. They only have one. So, and if you go back to like, let's say 3.5%, or what some people say 3.4, 3.3, but if you go back to the 3.5% threshold to power that one nuclear plant that was given to them by Russia, that was actually, they were part of that atom energy movement where they were taught how to use nuclear energy for clean energy. If we went back to the original JCPOA agreement, the original plan of action, maybe that would have worked. But instead, they decided to attack.
Well, can I respond to that? I mean, what you're saying is, if we went back to the JCPOA agreement, maybe that would have worked. Diplomacy would have worked, and maybe we could have appeased Iran, and they would have at some point
Not about only appeasing Iran.
I didn't interrupt you. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Check this out. It's not only about it's not only about appeasing Iran. Like we fucking broke the agreement.
Wait a minute. I heard what you said. Why is it so difficult for you to hear my response? Why is it so hard for you to hear the response?
Would you use the word appease?
Listen, hold on. My enemy. Please don't be that type of cracker.
Wait a minute. I'm not being fragile at all. I was just asking if I could respond. If the answer is no, response is not allowed, fine, then I don't have to fucking respond then.
No, go ahead. But
You
it's not the appease. I just got so I think you're triggered by the appease. I got triggered by the appease.
I'm sorry you got triggered by I used the wrong word. I'll try to avoid using that word.
We didn't know. If they had...
We got somebody telling me to close my pipe hole.
Let him finish. But I just got triggered by the appease piece.
Okay, well, I'm sorry if I use that word. That wasn't my intention. I'm just saying. Okay. All right. Notice how I'm not going to respond to that disrespect at all. Nobody's going to check this guy at all. Just going to let me just.
Just let him respond.
It's okay. No, it's okay. Yeah, you guys can treat me however you want.
No. Stop, y'all. Y'all got.
So I think the point.
And I apologize, my friend, because I did.
It's all good. These are your friends. This is how you treat new people in the room. It's all good.
Dude, chill. Because I just told you.
I am chill. Actually, I'm doing the dishes. I'm sorry that you got triggered by one word. I already said it was not my intention to use that word. It just came out of my mouth, and I'm sorry that was the wrong word. So what I meant was we could use diplomacy to move forward in the relationship with Iran and hope that one day they stop saying death to America. That might work. Or it's also possible that we would move forward with the diplomacy and then my bad. Am I still here? I hit some random buttons with my finger.
Yeah, you.
So, okay, I'm saying it could work. We could move forward with diplomacy, or it could not work. They could trick us, and then they could bomb us and kill us, basically. And so, that's basically it. But that's in defense of what America has been doing.
Okay, so let me say.
Okay, Robert, hold on. So I think Philip wanted to say something because he came off mic, and we all been talking.
Yeah, it's still convoluted. I mean, it's fair to point out like Iran's credibility, but it's also, I think, fair to point out United States credibility. And depending where we go back in history, with I'm not going to repeat all of it, right? With the Shah and the support of the Shah government, basically forestalling the first democracy of Iran and putting in the Shah with the British. Then Iran, even after that, tried actual diplomacy. This is before JCPOA, right? This is Bush. When the 9/11 happened, Iran reached out, said that they are willing to help. This is, despite all of that history, they actually helped with Afghanistan and ISIS later on. And that, and there was a moment, right, where Iranians thought like the relationship with the United States will go back to normal. It didn't, because like shortly after that, the Bush gave a speech on Axis of Evil, mentioning Iran as part of the Axis of Evil, right? Then we're back to this again. Then there is the JCPOA, again, hope of normalization. Obviously, it again failed because Trump withdrew. So I think it's kind of contextually we have to point out both of those, right? And we should point out the pattern in which Iran goes on for cooperation much more frequently than the United States does, and the party breaking the agreements is usually the United States. So within that context, I'll stop here.
And I agree with you. We talked about that a little bit right before you came in the room, Philip. And you know, like, even when they were claiming to try to help us when it came to what happened after 9/11, what was Israel doing? They assassinated their nuclear scientists. They were, they had spies within the Iranian defense programs. Like, you don't see why they came up with these little proxy attacks when it came to Hezbollah.
Well, why would it be bad for Israel to monitor Iran when Iran has been saying death to Israel for the past 70 years? For example, if I said a single word, if I say the magic word in
Literally just said that about America.
If I say the magic word, I can make everybody in here yell at me, and I will be immediately ejected from the room. I'm not going to say it, but the argument is, if I say the magic word in real life in the wrong neighborhood,
go ahead. You can say it. I'm not going to.
I don't want to
What's
say
the
it.
magic word, though?
You already know what it is, and I'm not going to say it because you wait, Patty. Yes, it does. But let me just make this point. Let me just make this point, please, guys. Chill.
That's the magic word.
Hey, y'all, can't jump on.
Just chill, bro.
Just
chill.
Conversation.
My point is this. I'm not even going to use the word because I don't like using that word, but my point is this. The argument is, if I use that word in the wrong context or at all, offline, somebody could respond with violence. If somebody hears me say that word on the bus, I might get punched in the mouth. I learned that when I was about 14 years old, because I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I have no interest in saying the magic word. But my point is this. If there's a magic word that I could say that could get me punched in the mouth on the streets of Washington, D.C., why isn't there a magic word that Iran could say that would get them punched in the mouth by Israel? And essentially, if I say the N-word, I'm not saying death to N-words. That would be even worse. That would be something I would definitely not say because it's not in my heart. It's not something I believe. If I said death to Chinese people or death to Jews or blah, 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 you would think that's a hateful guy. Maybe it would be justified punching that guy in the mouth, and you would not be wrong. But Iran has been saying for 75 years, they've been saying death to America and death to Israel. And at some point, I think if you come talking out the side of your neck and saying death to your mother, you're going to get punched in the mouth. And that's just how I feel about it.
Okay.
Excuse me, guys.
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say he started his conversation off in Gold's room yesterday, Hurricane's room yesterday, just with this exact thing.
And that's fine.
The exact same thing.
That's fine.
I don't see how it's related to yesterday.
So regardless of the fact, I don't care what So check this out, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's okay because he might be trying to get a feel of the conversations or where the difference is. So I don't know. Sometimes people just try to educate themselves and learn from each room. It's okay.
I was just trying to make a point about fighting threatening language, that if I say this or that, if I say fuck your mother, that's also threatening language. All of that stuff is...
Hey, we're not gonna jump on this. Go ahead, Philip. You had something to say.
No, we already know. I already know.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So, my friend, like, it's hard to debate on your personal opinions. You can have whatever personal opinions you think you have, and right on use of certain language and what should happen. But if we're talking to other people on norms, this is your personal norm that you propose, and you certainly can vote based on that if you're in the United States to uphold that norm, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that other people agree on that norm, right? So you can try convincing other people that that norm should be upheld. But generally, when we're talking about norms in international relations, we're talking about international law. So do you recognize international law, or it should be your personal norm that will go on by? Because, like, again, like the conversation about personal...
Is it legal for nations to threaten each other with death? Is it internationally, is there an international law that prohibits the use of language such as saying, death to the Philippines? Or what if I said, death to Germany, death to Germany? Or what if I said, death to the IDF, death to the IDF? What if I said, word to your mother? What if I said that?
Wait, hold on, Emperor. Can I ask a... Well, go ahead, Emperor. You answer it, then I'll ask.
So threats of use of force are illegal under international law when they are uttered in state capacity, right? Certainly that is norm that is not upheld. However, that doesn't mean that it justifies war, right? It doesn't. So they are prohibited, but doesn't mean that because they are prohibited, it justifies use of force in return.
So it isn't illegal to say death too, right? As long as it doesn't incite some type of violence. Like, for example, if you look at what the Hutu leaders did during the Rwanda genocide, right? Since people always like to go back to Africa.
Well, it is illegal to say the N-word either, but my point is it's antagonistic language.
You say that if you reference the N-word one more time, I'm gonna curse you out and your mama. I'm telling you.
That you're proving my point.
You
fascinated with it.
Thank you.
He kept saying it yesterday.
He referenced that shit one more time. I'm cursing him and his mother out, I promise.
Okay, my friend, will you respond to me at this point? Because
I did respond to you. I think that saying death to America is antagonistic language. Iran does not have access to a nuclear weapon, but they repeatedly say that their goal is to do death to America. And so I think that I was merely drawing a comparison. If I said something like death to you, I think that would be offensive. I would never say death to you because I don't even know you and I respect you.
Okay.
I don't wish death upon you. But do you understand my point that saying death to America, death to Israel is antagonistic, threatening language? And the nation of Iran, the leadership of the government of Iran has been using that threatening language for about 70 years.
Okay, so, yeah. So,
death to America is not a threat?
Stop.
Okay, well I believe that's disingenuous. That's quite disingenuous. Very disingenuous of you.
My friend, so...
You guys are being disingenuous.
Stop. Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, so I thought we agreed to move to international law rather than your personal value system, right? Again, it's impossible for me to debate your personal value system and your comparison with interpersonal.
I'm not talking about my personal value system.
You're gonna have to stay on mute, my friend.
You're imposing an analogy, right, in interpersonal civil life that is also quite disruptive to the room, but that's another point, and of poor taste, in my opinion. But you're imposing that metaphor to make a claim in international law. So either make the claim directly in international law or drop this, because we can't go on by your personal value system. Because again, if you hold that opinion, that is your business. You're just failing to communicate why those values are appropriate in this scenario whatsoever, and why people should think in those terms.
And I want to say something too. You got to look at some of the policies that was imposed on Iran, right? And some of the things that we did. So if you look at how we supported a monarchist, right? The Shah, Reza, whatever. We exiled like certain opposition groups, right? Here comes back the Ayatollah. And then the sanctions and the threats, and then even supporting Saddam Hussein with these WMDs to attack what we perceived was our enemy. Like, there was so many things that we have done in the past, as well as Israel, that with Iran having this death to America thing, they're looking at us like, what is their perception of the United States or even Israel when it comes to Middle Eastern affairs? Like, we're oppressors. The hypocrisy that we hold, and the control that we're trying to have over that Middle Eastern region. Like, their perception is their reality, right? And what our perception of how we implemented some of these policies is our reality.
But now, are you aware that now we're talking about whether or not it's justified for them to say death to America? And you're saying from their perspective, it makes a lot of sense for them to say death to America, which I agree. From their perspective, we're the oppressor and death to America. I did look it up, and there is an international law that prohibits any nation from threatening any other nation. Now we're having an argument over whether or not it's a threat to say death to America. Obviously, if I said death to N-words, would that be a threat?
So
say it again, bitch. I'm telling you, I'm about to curse you out.
You're proving my point by threatening.
You proving my motherfucking point, you bitch ass cracker. The fuck is wrong with you? If you want to say the word, stand on business, bitch, and say it so I can curse you and your mother out, bitch. The fuck is wrong with you? I'm sick of y'all. In this bit, you just want to say something, say it. Say it. Cause I'm gonna wish death on you and your whole fucking family, you fucker. You motherfucker.
Neurodivergent.
So.
Yeah, you are neurodivergent. Retarded. That's what you
So that's where the context matters, right? When you're talking about whether it's legal or illegal, right? So when you're talking about some government leader saying death to America, that can be like a slogan, right? Or death to Israel, but the context matters. Does it incite some type of violence? Has there been some type of genocide that ended up happening behind this? No. And that's why I brought up what happened with the Houthis in Rwanda, where they were actually they were using the slogan and at the same time inciting violence. That hasn't happened with Iran or Iran. And even with the attacks that Iran has made outside of the proxies, most of the attacks that they have made, they've given warning to the U.S. as well, right? So like, we've got to be
So you're
honest
saying it's
about
okay to say death to somebody as long as you've never attacked them and you don't ever actually attack them?
As long as you don't incite violence. Like, there's still a freedom of expression thing that's a problem, right?
Yes, death to you.
Wrong or right?
Death to your mother.
Yeah, that's
okay. And again,
death to your mother. With the cover.
Hey, chill.
Talk to your brother.
You got like 10. And they're not making sense. Go ahead.
So, my friend, again, trying to have a good faith conversation despite all the, I don't know how to qualify it, but please try to have a good faith conversation, right? I mentioned the threat of use of force is prohibited under international law. But the next thing was that even if the threats of force are prohibited and they exist, so for the sake of argument, let's say there is a threat of use of force, right? That doesn't justify automatically use of force by United States or Israel under international law. So do you have an argument to that?
No, he just wants to say choice words.
So you're saying if Iran threatens the USA by saying death to America, and that is illegal under international law, that the USA does not have the right under international law to respond with force. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. There are institutions.
I would agree with that, but let me ask you one now. What if the International Court of Law is completely fucking co-opted by anti-America bastards, and the International Court of Law is not stepping in to help protect or settle disputes? Or, I mean, if Iran has been saying death to America for 75 years, and the internet, that's illegal. According to the International Court, that's illegal. You can't threaten another nation by saying death to them, even if it's a slogan. I'm sure that if you look it up, that's a threat, right?
Can I chime in here?
So, yeah, you can chime in, but I'm in the middle of wrapping it up desperately.
You're done.
No, I'm really trying. I want to chime in.
Shut the fuck up
and let me ask you a question.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut up and listen to me.
No, it's my turn, asshole.
It's my turn.
It's my turn, you
I thought it was
fucking
my
punk.
turn.
No, it's not, you fucking bitch. All right, so let me tell you. When George Bush said the axis of evil and named 3 countries, do they then have the right to go after us? When he mentioned Iraq, Iran, and North Korea, were they supposed to be triggered? Because you're triggered. They're the biggest, baddest country in this world with the biggest force and the most money. It should be triggered because somebody said death to America? Are you that sensitive? Are you that much of a snowflake? You fucking bitch?
I'd like to respond. So the question is it a threat to say that Iran is part of the axis of evil? I think that it is less threatening to say, I think it's still antagonistic language for sure, and it's probably not a very diplomatic way to refer to a fellow nation of the world. But I think that saying Iran is evil is kind of in the same family as saying like Iran is threatening, like we should look out for Iran, like Iran is evil. That's not good. I mean, people say America's evil all the time, but I think saying Iran is evil or Iran is part of the axis of evil is clearly different from saying death to Iran. I mean, if you say Iran is evil, there's still a potential that Iran could become less evil.
Don't repeat it. See, let's make it
repeat it.
so we can have an argument. Yeah?
Yeah, because what the fuck is the argument here? Exactly.
Well, kick him out then.
Look, well, all I'm saying is, if you say Iran is evil, there's hope for reconciliation.
Okay, well,
if you say death to Iran, you've shown that you have no hope for reconciliation anymore.
So where's the imminent threat by saying death to Iran?
It's contained in the word death, implying
so again,
I'm gonna stab you in the heart like Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, you need to fucking chill, bro.
You know what?
Oh, wow.
He's a fucking
asshole.
The fuck? I want you to get stabbed in the heart like Austin did.
Oh my goodness gracious. She just said she wants me to get
stabbed in the heart.
Stabbed in the heart.
Yeah. You're a fucking racist.
Alright. I'm gonna report you to Clubhouse for saying that.
Yeah, fuck you, you piece of
I want you to get stabbed in the heart. They said something wrong.
I want you to get stabbed in the
Violence. Graphic violence.
Alright.
I want you to get stabbed in the heart.
And then
My friend, you spoke about Carmelo Anthony first. You forgot? Yeah.
He's gone, because I can't do that today.
Yeah, because Matt's about to come up and turn up.
Philip.
Yeah, he had a clear strategy. He had a clear strategy. Anytime he was challenged, he would go to race baiting and all of that.
I didn't understand what the argument was at all. Like, he kept mentioning Iran and death to America. Like, all right, so then what? I didn't understand where he was going with it until he kept referencing the N-word. He wanted to say it so bad. And hey, man, hey, boo.
He's lucky because I was about to pack him.
I know.
What were you saying, Ash? I'm confused, babe. In the chat.
No, I wrote that I really wonder that can't hear. He got offensive because the CIA, they fucked up the life of this population for years and years and years and years.
I agree.
And when they say that to America, and they never come to bomb America, they say that to America. You fucking got offense. You fuck them past. You fuck them present. You try to fuck them future. You try to divide them and conquest them oil to suck them treasure and destroy them history and them present and them life. And you got offensive to hear them saying that. Fuck off, man. Fuck off, seriously. I really wonder how much patience you got with that cunt guy. Really, but the emperor, man, you killed him. You put him in the corner. Okay, let's talk about the law. And he tried to run. He tried to escape like a fucking catfish when you catch it, you know? Thank you guys. Thanks for giving me mic to say what I really thinking.
Shout out to you. You needed the thing. But okay, so MAGA people, y'all here. I know y'all here, and y'all can come up here.
Yeah, Brandy could bring her retarded ass up
and
here.
Brandy, please, cause
Not the retarded ass.
so how you feel? So now, okay, now that we got
And now come up here. Come hang out with us.
now that we got that part out the way, the Iran shit out the way.
And
How y'all feel about the big funky bitch ass bill that's about to come underway? And Brandy, you in particular, because you was in the room with Ayana and her explaining how it's gonna affect college kids, and I know you got children. And how do you feel, Brandy?
And she used to be on social programs. Don't forget that.
Oh, and you was on welfare. How you feel, Brandy, about it, Brandy?
I want to say it's just something that when the Iranian people...
But I asked was eating good and living in a project building at one time. Maybe she should have been out on the street. And we'll see how far she would have got there. Her and her mother. And her mother that was living in the...
She got generations under her, so that might happen to the next one.
I need to headline something if you give me just a mic for a second. When the people in Iran or in wherever they say that to America, they don't talk about American people. They say that to this motherfucker CIA, the most criminal organization existed in human history because they damage them life. They doesn't have nothing to do with the population. They speak about the politica, the strategy of the United States to invade other country to suck them natural resources. That's why they say, but it doesn't mean American people. They have nothing. You traveled, you've been there. Your ancestor, you've been there. We travel people. We go in everywhere. They are lovely people in everywhere. But the politica of the United States is take the reputation of United States fucking down to the ground. So when that comes...
I think we all agree in here. Philip made it clear. I made it clear earlier when we were talking about how they ousted y'all original leader just to install the Shah. And then the Iranian Revolution. Like, we all understand, like, our history, right? I think we understand that, and then I also understand what Western ideology looks like too. Well, I'm not Iranian, but how Western ideology and imposing what we see as democracy on certain countries when that may be not what they want. You know, it's got to be something that has to happen internal. So I get.
I'm sure Iran ain't the only country that just has them sentiments towards America now. I've heard Venezuelans say the same goddamn thing. So what is the big deal?
Shit, I've heard Puerto Ricans and Guatemala say the same goddamn thing just to America. Like, fuck America. So, like, shit, people in Guam pissed off behind freaking, or Micronesia, are pissed off behind what happened after World War II. They got generations of people with freaking cancer and shit behind what has happened. And you got people in freaking Puerto Rico pissed off about the shit that's happening in their own country. Shit, I remember when I was a little kid, and you probably remember this too, Brooklyn. Remember when, you know how they used to alter islands in Puerto Rico? Little 5-year-old boy died. The Bronx was up and ready. They were like, get America out of fucking... It's like, y'all are territory now, bruh. But it's like, we've done a lot. Like, there's Puerto Ricans pissed off with America. There's so many countries. Fucking Haitians are pissed off with America. Like, we need to done shit in the past.
And especially now, I don't understand why anybody would be surprised with the administration that we had. Americans is like, fuck America at this point, because I am.
I know, I wish I could leave.
I know, but then it's like, damn. What's the closest? That was the conversation we was having the other night. What is the most comparable to America? Is it the UK? Like Europe somewhere? I need to know, because
I would love to move to Canada.
Come on, y'all.
Canada anyway.
You gotta love America, man. The thing about
I don't have to love shit. I don't have to love shit.
Well, can I have my argument?
Do that.
Can I have my argument?
Damn, please don't do that. Have it with somebody else. I don't have to love shit.
I am giving an opinion, okay? You're absolutely right. You don't gotta like it. I'm just letting you know my position is that it's easy for me to love it because look, as fucked up as it is, it's malleable. It's malleable. It's more malleable than most countries. And the thing is this, we still gotta compete, but it's malleable to the point where we may not have to have bloodshed. But like most countries and histories, there's been a lot of bloodshed where it's just no malleable, it's just hard as hell, and people gotta die. Over here, people don't gotta die, right? It's still malleable. People still do die, for sure, but it's more malleable than most other countries. And I'm done.
Canada, though. Canada? Moving to Canada is probably not a bad idea.
I would love to move to Canada. I don't think they're going to allow us to. I know I'm right there.
Exactly.
That's why I love Canada. I've always loved Canada.
You can sneak like the Mexicans. I'm sure they got a tunnel somewhere in Detroit to go to Canada.
That was funny. They probably got one in Buffalo too.
For real.
You know them niggas been marrying them girls from Toronto.
But yeah, Buffalo is a lot easier than here.
Yeah, it's like an hour away from
Canada, girl. It's not too cold in Canada. It's something like 9 months of freezing and just 2-3 months to see the sun and having normal life.
Well, you know what? Thanks.
I got fur coats, so.
Yeah. Thanks to technology and cars with heat and houses with AC.
I don't know. Do you have the numbers on what they contribute to the economy? What percentage of GDP, by any chance?
Well, I mean, I'll take King's. I know I haven't looked at it, but Kingstat said that was $100 billion annually they contribute to our economy a year. But then that would mean that again, 18 billion per year for healthcare, 59 billion for education. Let's not include housing, what the fair said, which is around 20 billion. So I mean, I feel like you add this all up, it's probably net neutral on how they exist. But again, it's a net negative when it comes to my federal taxes. I don't like that.
One second. Well, hold on. If they're contributing to the economy, they're contributing. First of all, it's way more than $100 billion because